everyone. This is Kelly Beard of KarmicTools.com, and this is your weekly forecast for August 24th through the 30th of 2025, and I've included the 31st to just round out the month because there are no activations on that day, and we will start September fresh. So before we dive in, I remind you again, the Astro 101 class registration is open for September-October classes. In September, we'll be getting together on Tuesdays, and October we'll get together on Wednesdays. And this is the best way to learn about basic astrology through your own blueprint. This is the Kelly way, which I get a lot of requests for. Just recently, I had someone ask me about something I was telling them and could they Google it? I'm like, no, this is a Kelly theory. Google probably ain't got nothing on me. So I hope that you will consider joining me. And for those in the Power Circle, I so appreciate when you share these things with your networks and your people, because that helps the cross-pollination for everyone. So join us if you can. This is the last week or two to register because our first class, I believe, is September 9th. So that only gives me about 2 weeks to get you your custom goodies, which we like you to have before class starts. So the sooner you register, the sooner that stuff will go in the mail. Now our week kicks off on Sunday the 24th with Sun squaring off with Uranus. Virgo to Gemini. This is going to be part of the challenge all month, probably. As with any Uranus activation, this one disrupts the normal flow in order to facilitate what I call a break to realign moment. While sometimes disruptive and challenging, the ultimate result is refreshing in some way. Consider the energy that thickens, gathers for a severe thunderstorm, then releasing buckets of heavy, steady rain for hours. You sleep deeply and awaken to a bright sunny morning with birds chirping unusually loud outside your window. Got the visual? This activation is the necessary challenge that gets your attention that something better is available if you're willing to improvise and think on your feet. If you've been unusually restricted in some way, you may feel restless. Rather than being reactive to the unexpected shift within or without, it's best to take a pause for the cause, step back, and try to gain some perspective. Remember to be present. Too far in the past can be depressing, and too far in the future, and you cause yourself unnecessary anxiety. Breathe, be under the sky, invite clarity about the next step, and trust your gut. This energy, while sometimes uncomfortable and often sudden, is very necessary to disrupt any illusions or delusions that you may be holding on to. It's time to express yourself in new ways, so naturally the old ways stop working in order to get your attention. Look for the area of life that the sun is lighting up for where to start. Now we move to Monday the 25th, when Venus will enter Leo until September 19th. Venus in Leo is all about renewing your values and priorities around your authentic self and unique contribution. The last time it was in Leo was July of 2024. So just imagine how much your essential nature and values have evolved since then. Also, because at that time, it was on the backside of its retrograde in Leo. So we had a huge reset in 23-24 in the Leo department. So we're a year or so out of that. This is an introduction to your newly emergent self. Review the last year or so. What have you developed creatively? How has your heart expanded and your consciousness grown and evolved over that time? How have your values and priorities shifted regarding love, sex, fun, creativity, and how you express who you really are? What is it all worth to you, then and now? What have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about your immediate friends, family, and community, and your place and preferences within each connection? Lots to marinate. Bust out those oracle cards, y'all, and start asking these questions and see if you can clarify. Venus is all about your innate magnetics, what you naturally magnetize and naturally repel. And Leo is all about being courageous and heart-centered and sharing your light with others with love, joy, and detachment. As you are able to activate and anchor this renewed sense of self that you've developed over a minimum of the last year, there will be new opportunities for new friends and new experiences, but you have to be brave. Remember, when you are centered in who you are, you give others permission to also operate from their center, and everyone has a more authentic exchange, which allows the vibration to remain high or rise even higher. Ashe. Essentially, it is time to own, activate, and truly embody your inner artist, that part of you that expresses naturally from the inside out. It's also a time deeply supported for reconnecting with your inner child or your innocent child heart. the part of you capable of being alive, happy, and fully present in the moment, and fully engaged with life, taking it all in, and then sharing your ideas, feelings, and unique gifts. It's time to share yourself with the world, get out and play, have fun, and lighten up. We must lighten our hearts most of all. On some level, the mourning period is over, and we are on the backside of the life-death-life cycle, rebirthing, coming alive, waking up. We've died to the old self and are taking the vital pieces left to assemble a more authentic self at a higher level here and now. Venus in Leo brings up issues where your personal self-love, self-esteem, and self-worth issues are all concerned. More than ever, we have to operate from heart center. You have to care to get engaged, and so you must clear away all that you do not care about so that what you do care about has more room to grow and evolve. One of my mantras is that my personal sanctuary is where everything I love I get to do for fun. That's my hope for this Leo infusion of energy, light, and renewal. The next 3+ weeks should afford you the time to renew your personal self-care routines, as well as your primary love or work relationships, and prepare to be yourself more fully and let the chips fall where they may. This Venus work is going to be very personal for those with Leo, Aquarius, and Taurus, Scorpio activated in their charts. Things that were important to you a year ago are probably not so vital now, and things that were not even on your list of priorities may have moved to the top. In this case, Leo means your core essential nature and authentic self-expression has evolved over that time, and adjustments to your personal presentation and current playmates should begin to reflect that upgrade. Deep breath. And so it is. New values rooted in the heart. Let's pay attention. Same day on the 25th, which is Monday, Venus will trine Saturn. So she's newly in Leo to Saturn newly in Aries. So there's this ease with fire going on. During this activation, an effortless and harmonious energy prevails, offering you a fertile ground to conscientiously engage with, which can lead to remarkable and palpable outcomes. It is an opportune moment to crystallize your vision and clarify your definitions within the realm of relationships and resources, for your values and priorities are distinctly illuminated with Venus activating Saturn. Drawing from your past positive choices and endeavors, you can anticipate positive benefits and well-deserved rewards heading your way. If you have sidestepped your responsibilities in any relationships, be they public or private, this energy provides a chance to realign, offering a smoother course, unlike the challenges typically associated with Saturn's influence. Practicality regarding your limitations and a realistic evaluation of others' contributions are keys to leveraging this energy. It supports discussions aimed at progress, growth, or elevating to a higher collective level, which can also foster teamwork and a sense of kinship. Engaging in strategic planning for the future, delineating a vision that safeguards and nurtures all involved, and honoring the vital essence of life pulsating through these interactions, find profound support through this harmonious alignment. Venus embodies the energies of love, money, and magnetics, and Saturn advocates for an objective and somewhat conservative approach to both your relationships and finances. Given this fusion of potent energies, I recommend outlining realistic relationship or financial goals spanning the next 3, 6, 9, or 12 months as a guiding compass for this time. So we assess things when Venus connects with Saturn, and we look at the stability, and there's a little bit of a reality check, but the trine means it'll be ease and grace, so we love that. And since Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are all related right now, what I say earlier in the month, Mars mixed it up with that crew. Now Venus is coming behind it. So it's almost like we had to shift how we do certain things to accommodate these new values that are emerging as we speak. So the next day, Tuesday the 26th, Venus will sextile Uranus. I like this back-to-back as well, where Saturn helps us ground, Uranus liberates us to the next level, and then she hits Neptune and Pluto. So we've got lots of support here as we move toward this final activation, which is a real biggie. But let me not get ahead of myself. Venus sextile Uranus. This energy, guided by Uranus, ignites a distinct electrical charge in the atmosphere. New relationships formed during this period might bear an unusual aspect, while established ones may undergo shifts for positive realignments, possibly in an enjoyable, different, and refreshing manner. Ashe. There is no room for mundane routines, ordinary people, or uninspiring collaborations during this phase. Harness this energy to tap into your own unique genius and delve into your profound well of creativity. Share these gifts, if possible, with kindred spirits who resonate with your heart. Leverage this energy to explore territories that you might not have previously recognized as available to you. Embrace a lighthearted and cheerful approach. Engage socially and relish diverse encounters or novel activities. So basically, try something different. However, be aware that relationships initiated during this period may lack the essential qualities for long-term sustainability. Consider this time more about cherishing the people and experiences passing through your life and accepting this transient yet enlightening gift. Ashe, deep breath. Then she trines Neptune. Same day, Tuesday the 26th. This prevailing energy warmly supports the act of weaving your world through the power of dreams. Allow your imagination the freedom to roam, leading you to or through typically uncharted territories. Engage in playful contemplation of what-if scenarios, pondering what would unfold if all your material needs and desires were effortlessly met. Envision how you would dedicate your time, energy, and resources under such abundant circumstances. You might find yourself deeply empathic and attuned to the experiences of others during this period. However, it is vital to maintain healthy boundaries amidst this empathic connection. Neptune's influence can evoke profound spiritual encounters with fellow human beings, be they friends, family, or lovers. Yet time is the only true storyteller, unraveling whether Neptune is playing whimsical tricks or if indeed a genuine spiritual connection is at play. Stay grounded as you navigate these mystical waters, honoring your intuition while remaining open to the unfolding truths. Okay, so again, Venus and Neptune, very creative and artistic, but you need to watch your boundaries and your limitations around relationships and resources. Let's put it like that. Now, the hardest one is always Pluto, which comes on Wednesday, the 27th, when Venus in Leo opposes Pluto in Aquarius, which is going to go on for quite some time. All the personal planets, when they hit Leo, are going to oppose Pluto for years to come. So this is going to be a process, let's just say. But classic opposition, anything with Venus is usually softened, while anything with Pluto is always intensified. And the opposition automatically brings up the push-pull between these two. You are encouraged to tune into your own heart, and then you can trust what is rising from your own soul's depths. Also, any opposition gives you a look back at your starting point, which can reveal something that you may not be giving yourself credit for. Either way, this energy intensifies experiences where your relationships and resources are concerned. If you have focused on love to the exclusion of money, then your finances will probably come up at this time for a rebalancing of sorts. If you've been focused on money to the exclusion of family or supportive relationships, then that may be your focus. The bottom line is your true values are up for a purification of sorts. What or who is really truly important to you? How do you spend your resources of time, energy, and money? What or who are your real priorities right now? Often we operate completely unconsciously, being driven by deeper forces than we fully understand, especially when Pluto's involved. And periodically we must allow them to come on up and out so that we can distill or release them so they become compost rather than toxic. Since you may feel compulsive in some way, you may as well use that energy to make a deeper commitment to getting to the root or source of any imbalance rather than let it take you away to feed some unidentifiable famine in your life. Often this activation tends to make you uncontrollably drawn to someone you know is not good for you, which can only result in problems. It often provokes manipulation, jealousy, guilt, and other negative emotions that always come when you are trying to maintain something that wasn't meant to be in the first place. Again, don't try to force your will. It can only lead to a broken heart in the end. If you are already in an intense relationship, beware of subconscious impulses, hidden resentments, unexpressed anger, and/or frustration. Expressing it at this time can be helpful if you present your concerns in a constructive way. However, you will have to be personally strong and vigilant in monitoring your own emotions in order to do that. Ultimately, if change needs to happen in your relationship, this will be the catalyst. This energy is only quote-unquote bad if you are unwilling to get to the root or source of the given conflict. Otherwise, it's like a storm that cleanses and clears the air, making everything grow better. And we like that. So again, with the check-in with Saturn makes us get real. Uranus makes us want to change something. Neptune means we need to think about them boundaries. And Pluto means a permanent shift is really, truly necessary at the root of everything. Now, our last activation is our most important one of the entire month, because this is a big one and it is rare. If I'm not mistaken, it only comes around about every 60 years. So this opportunity between the big boys is something moving the social collective along in bigger ways, but it can affect us as well with Uranus in Gemini and Neptune in Aries. And it's going to do it 5 times over. Starting on August 28th, which is a Thursday. The 5 hits will be August 28th, November 20th of 2025. There'll be 1 hit in 2026, July 15th, and the 2 final hits in 2027 will be January 15th and June 6th. So this too is an ongoing, lengthy process. Uranus and Neptune are initiating a sacred dance of freedom and faith over this rare and potent 3-year window. It is an activation that only comes around once in a great while, and it carries the seeds of our individual and collective evolution. Uranus, the great awakener and liberator, is now forming a harmonious sextile with Neptune, the mystic dream weaver. When these 2 outer planets unite in this way, the door swings open between the realms of higher consciousness and spiritual imagination, allowing us to receive radical insights that feed a whole new way of dreaming our world into being. Deep breath. This is not a quick burst of inspiration. It is a gradual unfolding, a holy dialogue between the mind and the spirit, between innovation and vision. Uranus and Gemini, traveling through the sign of mental perception and duality over the next 7 years, will continue to crack open old patterns of thought, communication, and connection. It will electrify our nervous systems with downloads of clarity and disruption alike. But here's the beauty. Neptune in Aries, retrograding into Pisces before turning direct again, is activating our inner mystic, the courageous seeker who knows that intuition is not optional, but essential. Together, they are preparing us for a profound turning point, an evolutionary threshold that will become even more powerful when Uranus moves into Cancer and squares Neptune in Aries a few years down the line. Okay, deep breath. So the 2 7-year cycles with Uranus are going with this 1 cycle of Neptune in Aries for 14 years. It's deep, y'all, when you look at it that way. Think of this as a sacred prelude, a spiritual quickening. Uranus is urging us to awaken to a new level of consciousness, while Neptune invites us to align with a new spiritual truth. This isn't about returning to old religions or dogmas. It's about reclaiming our spiritual authority from within. You may feel called to explore esoteric practices, energy healing, mysticism, astrology, or ancestral wisdom in a more direct and embodied way. What matters now is your own felt sense of connection to the divine, not someone else's interpretation. As always, when Uranus is involved, our systems can feel overloaded or overstimulated. This is why grounding practices like daily movement, breathwork, being in nature, journaling, and silence are so important. Your nervous system is your bridge to the higher mind. It must be fortified, not fried. And when Neptune enters the picture, spiritual boundaries become just as vital. Without them, we absorb other people's energies, collective fears, and false ideals like a sponge. Use this time to strengthen your discernment, not to close yourself off, but to remain clear, strong, and centered in your own light. Ashe. This transit will perfect 5 times between now and 2028, giving us multiple opportunities to refine our vision and align it with our own personal liberation. What dream wants to be reborn through you? What beliefs no longer fit your expanded sense of self? This cycle is here to help you dissolve illusions, release false identities, and embody a new level of sovereignty in both your thinking and on your spiritual path. We are standing on the edge of an era that will eventually shape the next 165 years. Let that sink in. The choices we make now, how we express our unique voice, how we relate to truth, how we walk our talk, will ripple out for generations to come. But we are not being asked to have it all figured out. We are being asked to listen to the signs, the synchronicities, the dreams, the quiet nudges of the soul, and to respond with humility, courage, and creativity. This is a sacred window for deep inner alchemy, where your radical ideas and spiritual insights can fuse into something uniquely powerful. It is time to rewrite the story, not from the top down, but from the inside out. Practice seeing change as a sacred invitation rather than a threat. Lean into your spiritual practices like a lifeline. Trust and validate your own inner knowing. Allow the great mystery to co-create with you a new dream, one rooted in freedom, truth, and sacred belonging. Woo, that's a big one. And it's going to happen 5 times over. So like I said, it will be a process of unfolding. But we want to pay attention to this one as an individual and on the social collective levels as well. And finally, the same day, Thursday the 28th, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 3 to 6 p.m. Pacific, I will be having my fire class where we talk about the fire signs of Aries, Leo, and Sag. This is where we'll go deeper into individuality, how we activate our spark, shine our light, and inspire creativity, among other things. It's going to be so fun. I hope you all will join me for that. Share it with your friends. I'm always grateful. And this officially concludes this weekly forecast and our month of August. So I hope that you will join me when and where you can. Reach out directly when you need to. And have a fantastic week. This is Kelly of Karmic Tools signing off. Be well.